It was the early days of Islam. There was a noble and powerful Christian Arab king. He ruled over a large land, from Damascus to the deserts of Jordan, with his palaces and armies. He lived in wealth and power with the support of the great Eastern Roman Empire and dressed like the Romans. But one day, he heard for the first time about a new religion rising from the Arabian Peninsula: Islam. The invitation to this new faith reached him. At that time, the caliph was Umar, who was known for being strict. When the king received the message of Islam, he traveled all the way to Medina and became a Muslim. The people lifted him on their shoulders in celebration. Everything was going perfectly for him, until something strange happened. One night, the king suddenly disappeared without a sound. He left no letter, no goodbye. Soon it became clear that the king had secretly left Islam, returned to Christianity, and escaped to the Eastern Roman Empire. This event, which would put the Islamic State and the Eastern Roman Empire against each other once again, increased the tension between them. After that, great wars would take place between the two powerful empires. But how did these strange events begin? Events that even involved Caliph Umar. What made this king leave Islam? The end of the story would be even more surprising. The king would face a tragic and terrifying death. In this video, we will tell you, for the first time, one of the strangest, least known, but most shocking stories in Islamic history. You are watching Religious Story TV. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like the video, and stay tuned for more. If you're ready, let's begin. Jabala bin Ayham was from the powerful Ghassani family. His tribe originally came from Yemen, the Azd tribe. Because of this, he was related to the Aws and Khazraj tribes in Medina. The Ghassani kingdom, where he was king, was founded by Arab tribes who had migrated north from Yemen after major disasters like the collapse of the Marib Dam in the 2nd century BC. During these migrations, the Ghassanis settled in what is now Jordan, Syria, and the eastern parts of Palestine. There, the Byzantine Empire, Eastern Rome, recognized them as a buffer and ally kingdom to protect the eastern borders. Officially, they were under Byzantium, but they were independent in their internal affairs. So, they continued as an allied but self-governing kingdom. Jabala bin Ayham became the last king of the Ghassani dynasty. His father Ayham was also a noble from the same family. Jabala was born into this royal house. He received military and political education and was introduced to Roman culture at an early age. He also strongly embraced Christianity. The Ghassanis were a Christian country loyal to Byzantium. This meant they followed the Orthodox branch of Christianity and were closely connected to Rome, both religiously and politically. Jabala carried this belief in both political and cultural ways. The Ghassanis were one of the first major Christian Arab states. Even Hassan bin Thabit, a famous poet and companion of the Prophet who later became Muslim, grew up among the Ghassanis. During Jabala's rule, the Ghassanis were still used by the Byzantines as defenders of the eastern frontier. They were given military support, titles, and tax exemptions. The Ghassani kings were shown great respect in the Byzantine court. Some even took part in official Roman ceremonies, wore Roman clothes, and wore golden crowns. Jabala also continued this tradition. Until that time, the tribes of the Arabian Peninsula had never had any conflict with the Ghassanis, since they shared the same Arab roots. Instead, they had trade and political relations, especially with the northern tribes. However, when Islam began to spread, the power of the Ghassani kingdom started to weaken. Byzantium's internal problems and long wars with the Sassanids forced the Ghassanis to look for new alliances. At the time when Jabala heard the message of Islam, he wanted to accept it. He wrote a letter to Caliph Umar to inform him and asked for permission to come to Medina. Umar and the Muslims were very happy to receive this news. In his reply, Umar told Jabala that he could come to Medina, and if he became Muslim, he would have all the rights and responsibilities like every other Muslim. So, Jabala set out with 500 horsemen from Akka and Jafan. As he neared Medina, he dressed his men in clothes decorated with silver and embroidery. He also wore his crown, which had an earring passed down from his grandmother. When Jabala entered the city, women, children, and all the people of Medina came out to greet him. Everyone was happy that Jabala had become Muslim and come to Medina. That year, during the Hajj season, Jabala performed Hajj with Umar. While making tawaf, circling the Kaaba, a man from the tribe of Fazara accidentally stepped on Jabala's robe. Jabala became angry, turned to the man, punched him, and broke his nose. The man later complained to Umar. Umar sent a message to Jabala and asked, "Why did you punch that man and break his nose?" Jabala replied, "Yes, he stepped on my robe. If it weren't for the Kaaba, I would have taken out both his eyes." When Umar heard this, he said, "So, you admit your fault. Now you must either make peace with him, or I will apply qisas, equal punishment, to you." Jabala said, "What do you mean? Are you making me, a king, equal to a man from the lower class?" Umar replied, "O Jabala, Islam has made you and him equal. You have no superiority over him except in righteousness. You are the same." Jabala said, "Is that so? I thought I would become more respected and powerful after entering Islam." Umar said, "Islam has made all Muslims equal. In front of Allah, a king and a servant are the same, and in this world, everyone has rights, and those rights must be protected." Jabala then said, "In that case, I will return to Christianity." Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, said, "Then, O Jabala, I will apply both the qisas punishment and the punishment for leaving Islam. It's your choice." A fight almost broke out between Jabala's men and the relatives of the man with the broken nose. Jabala asked Umar for time to think until the next day. Umar agreed. That night, thinking about what would happen to him, Jabala secretly escaped with his 500 horsemen. He went straight to Constantinople, today's Istanbul, and left Islam to become Christian again. The Eastern Roman Emperor of that time, Heraclius, welcomed him. Heraclius was very pleased. For a rich man to leave Islam and choose their religion was something great in his eyes. He gave Jabala more wealth and land. Caliph Umar sent an ambassador to Heraclius and invited him to accept Islam. Heraclius, however, offered a peace agreement without becoming Muslim. As Caliph Umar was about to write a reply to the peace offer, he turned to the ambassador and said, "Come here. Did you meet Jabala, who left our religion?" The ambassador replied, "No." Umar said to him, "First, ask to see Jabala. Then tell them that Caliph Umar will write his answer after that." So the ambassador went back to the Eastern Roman Empire, to Constantinople, to see the condition of Jabala. When he arrived at the gate of Heraclius, many servants and guards were standing there. After a long wait and insistence, the ambassador was finally allowed to enter. Inside, he saw a man with a yellow beard. But this was strange. This man used to have dark skin and black hair and beard. The ambassador kept staring, trying to recognize him. Now, let us hear how the ambassador later described the event to Caliph Umar. "I later learned that he had dyed his beard with golden color. He was sitting on a crystal throne with a golden statue. It was none other than Jabala. When he saw me, he recognized me and asked me to sit beside him. He asked about the Muslims. I said, 'They are doing well, and they grow stronger every day.' Then he asked about Umar. When I told him he was well, I noticed a sadness appear on Jabala's face. Jabala then invited me to sit on a golden chair. Food was brought for me. He asked, "Why didn't you accept the food or sit on the chair?" I replied, "Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam forbade us from using gold." He said, "Keep your heart pure. Don't worry about where you sit. Look at the intention behind hospitality, not just the words. What a pity for you. You learned Islam and its virtues, its beauty, and still you are not Muslim. You're saying this to me now after all that has happened." I said, "Yes. Even someone who was worse than you repented. He left Islam, fought Muslims with a sword, but later returned to Islam and was accepted." Then Jabala said, "Leave me alone. But if Umar promises to marry me his daughter and hand over the leadership to me after his death, then I will become Muslim." I said, "With the permission of Allah, I can promise to give him the caliph's daughter in marriage, but I cannot promise to give him leadership." The ambassador then describes more details about Jabala's life. He tells how golden and silver tables were set, and people ate from golden and silver plates, but he himself stayed away from all of that. He also describes how Jabala signaled to a servant, and jewel-covered chairs were brought. People of great beauty sat on his left and right. It looked as if he was trying to show that he was living in a paradise on earth. Whatever a person could desire, anything the ego loves, Jabala was living it. There were poems, songs, and music. It was a royal life full of fantasy and luxury, but the ambassador says he could clearly see that Jabala was not happy, despite all the glitter and luxury. He was trying to find comfort in fake beauty and distraction, but his sadness was obvious. The ambassador continues, Jabala asked him whether Hassan bin Sabit was alive or dead. The ambassador answered, "He is alive." Then Jabala said, "If so, I want you to offer him a gift and give something to his family." The ambassador later returned to Umar and told him everything he saw and experienced. He gave him the gifts and passed on Jabala's message for Hassan bin Sabit. He also told Umar that he had agreed to one of Jabala's conditions, marrying his daughter. But when the ambassador returned to Constantinople, he found people coming back from Jabala's funeral. It was too late. Jabala had left this world without becoming Muslim. He had refused qisas, equal justice. So he missed the blessings of Islam, the true source of eternal happiness. All the luxury and beauty of the world could not satisfy him. He was restless. It is said that on his deathbed, in deep sadness from leaving Islam due to his pride, Jabala said, "Pride and stubbornness took me away from the truth. I gave up a healthy eye and bought a blind one. I wish I had been a camel shepherd in the desert. I wish I had been a slave. I wish I had lived in Damascus with a small income, living a simple, lonely life among my people." These were the words Jabala said near the end of his life. But he did not repent, and he died as a disbeliever. His pride and fake kingdom had blinded him. Thrones, gold, jewels, silver, perfumes, women, all kinds of food, all were left behind. As he admitted in his final words, his pride led him away from truth. If only he had accepted qisas, apologized and made peace with the man he hurt, maybe he would have been honored in Islam. If he had lived a simple life as a Muslim in the desert instead of living in a palace as a Christian, he would not have felt regret, and he would not have missed eternal happiness. Jabala did not see himself as equal to other Muslims. He looked down on them and thought he was better, but this attitude was completely against Islam's core understanding of justice. Today, even though modern law systems say everyone is equal, kings, nobles, and ordinary people, can we really say this happens in real life, with a good lawyer, with manipulation, or by finding loopholes in the law? Even modern justice systems fail to protect equality. Isn't that true? But Muslims were living out this principle of equality bravely 1400 years ago. The story of Jabala alone shows how far ahead Islam's justice system was and how it crossed the limits of its time. But the real question is this: as today's Muslims, how close are we to that understanding? Most of the time we speak on topics we don't understand, just to prove ourselves right. We look down on others, make fun of them, or try to win with hints and manipulation. Just like Jabala, when it's about our own benefit, we become harsh, we blame others, and twist the truth. We use this attitude both toward people from other religions, which pushes them away from Islam, and also toward fellow Muslims, which breaks our sense of brotherhood. But Islam teaches not to exclude anyone, and to speak to everyone with justice and respect. Today, though, making generalizations has become a habit. Many people see everything as outside of Islam, based on shallow views or lack of knowledge. Instead of researching, they repeat memorized phrases to feel superior, stories of kings from the past. We usually treat them as just stories, because we think we'll never be kings, so they don't relate to us. But the truth is, many people today live like Jabala. They just don't have his wealth or power. They're like a powerless Jabala, a powerless Pharaoh, a powerless Nimrod. If they had servants or armies, they might have gone even further than those kings. Sometimes we feel very sad when we read comments under the videos on this channel. Some Muslims today have developed a habit of calling every Islamic view they disagree with as not from Islam. They go so far that they even criticize great scholars like Imam Ghazali, Imam Shafi, or Ibn Arabi, even though the topics they criticize were never even controversial in Islamic history. With no real knowledge, without referring to any proper source, they compare themselves to these great scholars, even attack the companions of the Prophet. This is deeply disappointing. Some accept only the Quran, others accept only the Quran and Hadith, rejecting all other Islamic sources. Even on issues where agreement has been reached long ago, new divisions are appearing. Everyone thinks they know everything, but in reality, most know very little or just surface-level things. Still, like Jabala, they look down on others, and sometimes this attitude affects us too. We get pulled in and fall into the same mistake. One of the biggest problems of our time is ego, simply put, egology, and we also see ourselves affected by it. That's why we continue creating these videos on this channel, not just to produce content, but to reflect, to learn, and to take lessons for ourselves. We believe the cure for this disease is the struggle against the ego, just like it is explained in Tasawwuf. We accept the guidance of thousands of scholars and saints who were raised with the perspective of the Quran and the Sunnah. We're not just producing content, we're also holding up a mirror to our own egos. By Allah's permission and help, we will continue our work with this awareness, and we will keep questioning ourselves too. May Allah correct our egos and make them serve our souls, not rule them. Now, let's end with one of the most famous poems of the great Islamic scholar Rumi, as a source of strength and inspiration in these difficult times. La tahzan, don't be sad. Whatever your sorrow is, take a deep breath and make wudu, then sit quietly in a corner of your room and cry if you wish. You don't even need to speak. He knows you and your troubles better than you do. Remember, when you raise your hands in dua, do it with a broken heart, because the mercy and generosity of Allah fly toward the one whose heart is broken. When someone hits a carpet with a stick, it's not to hurt the carpet, it's to remove the dust. If something doesn't happen, it's either because something better will happen or it was never meant to be. Look at the birds flying in the sky. They neither plant nor harvest. Do you think the one who gives them food will forget you? Just learn how to ask. Don't be sad. If you can see, if you can touch, breathe and walk, then be thankful. Don't tell me what you don't have. Tell me what you do have, dear soul. Don't be sad. Will the nights always be lonely? Will those who left never return? What you've lost may appear again on a rainy night or a fresh spring morning. Know this, there is still beauty in life. Can you imagine a life without ups and downs? Sadness makes you mature, loss teaches you patience. For now, make lots of dua. The harvest is near, dear soul. Love your destiny. If there is pain, love that too. Don't be sad about your illness. Who knows what sins it will wipe away? Don't be sad because you were left alone. It just means your heart still knows how to love. Forget the past. Act like it never happened. Don't take autumn just because a single cloud passed. One day, yes, one day, you'll walk arm in arm with joy. You'll smell the earth after the rain. You'll lift your soul on butterfly wings and fly through the skies with your loved ones. Dear soul, who said a rainbow only has 7 colors? You'll understand what I mean, the difference between looking and truly seeing. Dear soul, the time you're given is not long enough to waste on sadness. Like everyone, one day you too will flap your wings toward eternity. Life moves so fast we don't even notice, but the sand in the hourglass is falling quickly. Do you really have no memory worth holding on to? Don't let go of life's hands. Don't be angry with it. Put on your blues and go outside. Be like the seagulls dancing with the sea. Scream, continue. Life may be mortal, but look at it with eternal eyes. You can't escape loneliness, sadness, or life itself by running. You must stand strong. You must live, dear soul. Life wants to see you in it. Come closer now. Don't forget, the things you never do can't be made up for. And never forget, light has never lost to the night.